to the presentation on the sensor web and an overview of the metadata flow in MOSAiC. This webinar is targeted at chief editors, but it's also targeted at data contact persons who also need to have an overview of how all these components work together so they can help their colleagues on board Polastern. This is an overview of the data flow in MOSAiC in general. The data flow goes from left to right. In the beginning, there is some kind of sensor which we want to describe so that we have a set of metadata describing our sensor, which will be measuring data or sampling samples from which data will be derived later on. In this example, we have a snow buoy, and the snow buoy with its sub-devices, measurement parameters, and so on will be registered in the sensor web. More on this later on. Then we would like to document the device operation of the sensor itself. For this, we have the DShip action log on board Polastern, with which for each device operation of an instrument, a device operation ID is created and registered in the system. The data, when obtained, is then transferred via local area network or a USB stick or some other means to the MOSAiC central storage on board Polastern. And we have some monitoring tools such as the dashboard. Yannick will give you an introduction into that later on, and also the map viewer displaying some satellite data, forecast data, and so on. There is also a virtual environment with which you can work on your data, such as with Jupyter Notebook or a pre-configured virtual machine or similar. In the end, once you reworked your data, you will publish it for lots of cases in Pangea. Depending on the data policy, you have to abide also in other data repositories, or alternatively, and at the end you'll have a beautiful Nature publication if you do everything right, of course. Yes, so now we'll go through how it works together. Skipping some slides into the general introduction of the sensor web, because we've all heard about this before, and continue with this slide of how it all works together. So we will have sensor on board Polastern as well. It's synchronized with the sensor at the AVI. Synchronization takes place every 10 minutes. And all devices which are registered in the sensor web, which are set to public and have a certain contact, namely the DShip connector role attached to it, will be imported and available in the DShip system. In the DShip system, one can then record the device operation or the time and position of the device operation for later data retrieval. So not the data, just the metadata is registered. And depending on the sensor URN in the sensor web and the device operation ID, a folder path is generated on the MOSAiC central storage where you can upload your data. Only persons registered as either an editor or a data provider in the sensor web will be able to write data into the respective device folder. And this is how the data structure on the MOSAiC central storage will look like. We have two areas on the MCS. There's a platforms area for the raw data and the workspace area on the right-hand side, which you can interdisciplinarily and or team-wise work together on your data, but we are concerned with the left-hand side with the platforms area, and you can see that the directory structure is derived from the sensor structure, sub-devices, and parent devices in the sensor web. So for the CTD water sampler, this is underneath vessel, Polastern, and there we have the CTD water sampler with its sub-devices. Within every device folder, there will be a folder called Xdata, which stands for expedition data. And underneath this Xdata, there will be automatically, there's a script running every 5 minutes with which a directory is created with the name of the DShip device operation ID, and this is where you will upload your data after you have measured it. And DShip itself is structured in this way. We have an expedition number per leg. So for MOSAiC, this would be PS 122/1 for the first leg, PS 122/3 for the third leg, and so on. And within each expedition leg, we will have science activities. These will be on a weekly basis generally. So every week we will have a new science activity. This is so to group the device operations. And within each science activity, you can have several device operations. So every usage of a device, it will be protocoled as a device operation. So if your CTD goes down once, you will have a device operation. If it goes down a second time, you will have a second device operation. You can have several device operations of the same device within one science activity, but you can also next then deploy the ROV, for instance. That will be another device operation. And for devices such as the ICE core, where you will be taking several cores within one coring field, we agreed that we will just have one device operation and every coring will be displayed underneath as a sub item of that device operation. I'll show you later on maybe. So, and this is where you can derive the number. So in the beginning, the red part, campaign expedition leg underscore science activity minus the number of the device operation within the science activity. This is just incremented every time automatically by DShip. And then in the display view, you will also have the short name of your device. Okay. And later you will get an export from the DShip, which you can work for analyzing your data later on to have a complete set of metadata, and together with the extract from sensor, where you can export all these variables which you see in DShip. Okay, so now I'll just give you a quick presentation on how it works together. It's because we have this components now installed on Polarstern, so I'll give you a quick live view so to give some motivation. And for this, I will switch to the MCS. Which is here. So this is DShip on board. We also have a DShip on land for testing, and we have created scientific accounts for you so that you can also get acquainted with the system a little bit before. We will have an extra introduction into the system, but for some this might already be interesting now. So in the top, you can see the action log events or the former station book. And these entries marked in bold are the device operations on the left-hand side. You have a timestamp, the device which was used. You can distinguish between several action types. We have latitude and longitude and some other meta information, also some ship sensor parameters which can be recorded with that device operation. We would then create a new device operation. For this, we can choose if we want to create a new science activity or go along with the existing one. For the overview, we'll just create a new science activity at the moment and a new device operation. And when we click on device, I hope you can see this, there will be a list of devices which are imported into the DShip system, and they all come from the sensor web. So in our case, we would like to deploy the CTD water sampler. So I will mark this device and apply the selection. And I can add some comments and some more metadata. I can also change the sub-devices with which the CTD is going to water. So I don't know if this is a realistic example, but let's say these are all the sub-devices of the CTD water sampler in the sensor web, and let's say the transmission meter will not go down with this cast. So I'll deactivate it, apply selection, and I can choose the action. So maybe it's just for information purposes. Maybe I would like to start a station. I can use the current timestamp, but I can also add a timestamp later on. So change the timestamp, add a comment, and click on create. And then this is our new device operation, which has been created. So it's, in this case, the expedition is PS120/WLZ. WLZ is for Werftliegezeit, Zeit, so shipyard time. Underscore science activity is 7, and it's the first device operation within that science activity. Now, the device operations are synchronized back to the sensor web. So let's check for our device in the sandbox. It's not in the real system yet, but it will be for MOSAiC. And for this, we will go to the sandbox. Search for our CTD water sampler. And if I click on the eye, I will get some information. And it will show you a different way to get to the instruments later on, using the new view. And under the tab Actions, you will see that we have several actions which have been performed. And here's a new entry. It has an internal sensor ID. The type was a deployment. Because it's station start, this is map to deployment and sensor. This is a label, so the DShip device operation ID, the date, and latitude, longitude, and elevation as recorded in DShip at the time. So what's also happening is that it is grouped. So maybe this is also important to know at this point in time. So let's create another one. So we will create for the same device and device operation. We will say that we have, so we choose the science activity. 7 still is first the device operation, but we will add another action. So we had station start. Now we will say station end. And create it. And then this is listed underneath the same device operation ID, but the action type is now station end. So if we look at the time, it is 12:19 until 12:22. And if we go back to our sensor and maybe refresh the page, in actions, there is a recovery of the sensor at 12:22. Okay, now maybe I've already managed to talk for 5 minutes. Then the script has run in the background and the directory has been created on the MOSAiC central storage, but we can have a look at that anyhow. So let's go back to our MOSAiC central storage on board Polarstern. This you will be able to mount in your laptop or on a computer in the system. It will also be available on your virtual machines. So you would mount a network drive. In this case, we're on the MCS itself, but you will still have a file browser view of the contents of the MOSAiC central storage. And we are in the platforms area. And if we have a look at the platforms area, you can see that we have the different platforms which we already know from the sensor web. And we know that the CTD is underneath Polarstern, which itself is a vessel. So we could navigate down, go to Polarstern, and here you see all the devices which have been registered in the sensor web. And let's go down a bit. We can see the CTD water sampler. And in the CTD water sampler, we have a directory for every subdevice, and a folder called Xdata. So data which doesn't go into any of the subdevice directories would be put in the top level Xdata. And here you can see it has just now been created, the folder for the device operation ID 701. So you would go here as a registered data provider or editor for this device and would upload your data here. Now, a folder like this is created in every subdirectory for every sensor which was participating in this deployment. So in Altimeter, in Xdata, we also have a directory called PS120WLZ701. Now, to prove the concept, we will go to the transmissiometer, which we excluded from our device operation, and in Xdata, and you can see there is no folder for the device operation 701. So this is how it all works together then. And to come back to the slides. The presentation view. Here we are. So we have the three views on the data, on the metadata. On the left-hand side, you can see a screenshot of the MOSAiC central storage with the directory of the CTT water sample and its subdirectories. You can see that the information is logged under actions for the sensor, and you see the initiation of all this is done by adding a device operation in sensor in DShip. Sorry. Okay. Then I would hand over to Yannick if there are no questions, and then he can give an introduction into sensor, how it works.
Maybe I have a question since you're at this point. I mean, you made this example with a water sampler, and you mentioned before that for the ice coring, that there was an agreement that one area of ice coring would be one scientific event, correct?
Yeah, one device operation.
Yeah, so if we choose a spot and take 5 ice cores with one ice corer there, we would record it as one scientific event or station.
One device, so it's within one science activity, and then you have one device operation. So on the slide here, it might be the top example would be not PS120_28 minus 2 CTD water sampler, but PS122 minus 1_28 minus 2 ice corer, for instance.
Okay.
And then under that,
yeah,
we still have to do the final implementation, but probably you will have a list of all ice cores taken as actions, or you will have some metadata on the MCS where you will connect all your ice cores which have been taken to this device operation ID, which is in the front.
Yeah. Okay, I think the details come later. I think I understood. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Mm-hmm. Any more?
I have a question. Mm-hmm. Who is creating these things? Is that the science people or the crew?
So the crew might be creating some. So there are different accounts and different views on the system. Every team, so eco, atmosphere, ocean, and so on, will get their own scientific account for DShip, and then they enter their device. So we will have to find out how is the best workflow. I guess it's good if the data contact persons know how to use DShip and add devices, but in the end, I guess we will have several PIs, task PIs, maybe entering those records in DShip.
But the actions, usually on normal cruises, the crew is running this action log, right? Only the crew.
Oh, only the crew. And I don't know, actually, to be honest, maybe for the CTD or something, it will still be the Nautica on the bridge, the officers entering those device operations. But for any things that happen on the ice, or the recording of the tethered balloon, if it goes up, for instance, that will be protocoled by the scientists themselves. And
Okay.
ICE, we will also have this, MOSAiC group has this ICE Flow Navi app, which we are also, which you can record your operations in the ICE, and this will also be synchronized with DShip, so that there will be import with what you protocol with the system of the ICE Flow Navi app will be imported into DShip. So,
and the timestamp, is that possible to, well, if I'm on the ICE, do I have to do it at this point in time when I lower, for example, the CTD in Ocean City?
you can change the timestamp in DShip. Yeah,
okay.
I don't think you cannot change it in the ICE Flow Navi app, but you can change it in DShip. I can show you here.
So I can do the station on the ICE and then in the evening go back to the ship and then write the action into the DShip.
Exactly. You can also create a sheet of paper and then write it down and then enter those manually.
Okay.
I can show you here. So it's actually quite straightforward. We have this device operation here, and here we will click on it. Let's say, this is a later one. This is a recovery. And then there's this pen, edit selected event. And
okay. Yeah, right. You said that also when you showed it, that you can change the time.
I didn't demonstrate it, so, but here, so we can change that. And then
okay, cool.
Apply. Oh, well, you have to be in the past, okay? So, but
okay, but
1231, right?
Okay, and then I have a question regarding the different sensors on the CTD, for example, because with the CTD system, we write all the different data in one file, so it would not end up in different folders.
Yeah, that's exactly what we also had a few question a few days ago. So we would be in CTD water sampler, and you would get a combined file for several sensors. So that you would upload in the X data directory of the CTD water sampler itself. So he go to the device operation in CTD water sampler X data and upload your information here. If at a later point in time, you would then separate these data strings or have some first level of processing where you can actually extract real temperature values, for instance, you could then put that in the respective subdirectory X data, right? The device. So that would be then, I don't know, SPE 32 might be the temperature sensor for the CTD water sampler. I'm guessing. Then you would go.
That's actually only the thing that releases the bottles, so that will not have data. But
example.
yeah, that would be the temperature. Okay. No, that's the oxygen, but doesn't matter.
Okay, we'll take the oxygen then. So you would say I extracted the oxygen values, and then you would go to SPE 43 X data, search for the folder with the device operation ID and upload your data here. Okay,
and this is something that we have to do this way.
Yes.
Because that was never done like this until now, but
it's a new workflow, and that's what we agreed upon for MOSAiC now, that metadata is registered in sensor and in DShip, and that's the raw data, or what scientists call their raw data. So for eco, this might be a sampling log sheet, even saying which bottles were used, and could also be an ice coring log sheet. Some will have real raw data, other will only upload the first processed data. It's really sometimes it's a point of discussion also. And the idea behind it is that everyone on the cruises data will also be synchronized back to Bremerhaven after each leg, because we're sharing our data in MOSAiC with crucial members, that everyone knows where to find this data and can already have a look at it. And by signing the data policy, everyone also agrees that they will not publish any data or use it in a different way than intended, and not having, so they have to contact the person responsible for the data first before they use it. So, yeah.
And when do I have to have it in the structure?
As soon as possible. So, so there's some exceptions because people have their data center on board and they take it first home, and then they will upload it here at the AVI. But even those people will create extracts of data which they will provide on the MCS. So actually as soon as possible. So already during the cruise. And the idea is so that you can work together with your colleagues onboard Polarstern and look at the data. So the idea is not to make it really beautiful and then upload it after some months, but really, ideally, I mean, most ideal would be daily, but I guess it really depends on the workflow and the instrument and how. But so, and I know the different teams also have routines, weekly routines when data work is done, and part of this hours for data work would also be uploading data, for instance. So everyone benefits from it, and if you upload this data, this is also backuped. So in case
yeah, the point is not the uploading, the point is the structure. And I don't really know whether I can change the structure for the first leg.
Yes, I mean, maybe I can. What I'm thinking. I mean, I think the idea doing the structure and comparing data, I think the idea is really good. But for example, for the CTD data, it's a lot of extra work to separate the data.
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
why we said with the
and if I'm, for example, looking at the CTD data, I would, for example, always look at temperature and salinity together. I would never look at it separately.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was
that discussed with Ben or with someone from the oceanography group?
I got your question wrong. So what I was talking about is when the data should be uploaded to the MCS. So as soon as possible. And for your CTD data, no, we haven't discussed the workflow with Ben, but for the CTD data, if it's combined, you can upload this, I guess, almost immediately after.
Yes, yeah, that can be within days. The combined data set in one file, all the sensors. That's easy.
Yeah, and the rest, no. I mean, as soon as it's there, that's good. And we haven't said when any. So the idea is to have the raw data available. I guess this will also depend on some routines on board. If someone is interested in the CTD data, you might establish some workflow that you have some data already available for others within. But for that, just the data itself, the raw data, as soon as possible. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but as I think it was Dorothea said, it was never done that we would separate the sensors because you would always look on all the parameters together. So I don't really know whether that makes sense to divide it into different sensors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a discussion for every device. Actually, the CTD water sampler has been entered as one of the first instruments, I think, in the sensor itself, sensor web itself. So it's quite an early instrument. So and I think Gerd Rohard is also added as an editor of this instrument. So he should at least have been involved in the creation. Yannick, do you maybe know? Or was it? So
maybe we can discuss that again offline.
Yeah, no, we can. The reason why you have these subdirectories also is they are created automatically from sensor, right? From the sensor web. So and in the sensor web, of course, you don't only think about the data when creating your system, but also about the metadata. So you might be exchanging some subdevice like temperature sensor or the oxygen sensor, and that would also affect the quality of your data. So that's why you add this as a subdevice in the sensor web. And then automatically a subdevice folder is created on the MOSAiC central storage. If this then also, this doesn't mean it's mandatory to have data in every subdevice folder. Maybe we should discuss that in detail for the CTD, what makes sense. But the idea also comes from the sensor metadata, right? So that's,
Yeah, okay, let's have this discussion sometime.
Yeah.
Not now, maybe. Okay, thanks.
But it's noted. Any more questions?
Not at this point.
Okay. Yannick,
okay.
your time.
Hello. Now I show you how to create a device, and then can you create your own device on the task system. First time you must log in. We have a demo user. So, and I create a device without a platform. You must go to the create item on the top, and then you have your device overview, and you give your device a short name. It's EDCP, new EDCP with a short name 1234. And serial number as a type your current profiler, and then can we save? Now we create a device without a platform. It's from the type current profiler, ADCP, and you can handle this with on the mobile platforms. Okay, and when you create a device on the platform, you have on the create item on the bottom here is the platform types. Then can we create a new station? Then we create a new device for the station platform type. So now I send you a link to this sandbox system
in the chat.
The user is demo, password.
I'm just checking the chats. Sorry, Yannick.
Okay.
If you have a question, ask us directly because we are working on one system together. So it's yeah. Okay.
Antonio, this is Giri.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you for the nice presentation and walkthrough. So in case of ARM, and I heard like the PIs or the instrument mentors received a notification from you guys about like registering the instruments. I need to check if they're all independently registering the ARM instruments or like one of us will do for all the instruments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you recall like if they already registered any ARM instruments in here?
No, I don't know. I could not distinguish. I was thinking that you would register these instruments. So we'll. I can check the device management list, but they would fall under Atmos, I guess. The atmospheric. Yeah.
Okay.
The Vondergarten, I can ask him if there have been some ARM instruments registered. So I guess assuming because it's your container, you would be doing this. But if you have PIs, then of course they know better about this. We have added you as chief editor for the ARM instruments. So assuming that you know the PIs best, I will check this and email.
Thank you. That'll be appreciated.
Okay, I see we have a problem. I check up. Moment.
Was kommt bei der Plattform unter der Plattform
angeben? Ja, direkt.
Not enough rights.
Sorry, Antonia. It's Amy here.
Hi, Amy.
Hello. I know this is annoying, but I missed the start of the call. But are we now entering devices into the demo?
Yes.
Into the sandbox demo? Okay.
Link, did Yannick also send that? Yes, sandbox.
Just so you know, yeah.
Exactly. So you can actually use these credentials and enter devices by yourself as well. Yannick,
And this is just a test, or is this going to be copied to the real
no,
RV?
just a test. So this is actually sometimes it's fairly up to date, but it might be some weeks ago that everything from the real system, so sensor.rv.de, was imported into the sandbox, but the sandbox itself is not synchronized back. So this is really
Okay.
a fairly up to date view of the devices, and then you can play around or add new ones.
Okay. So, but I should still be entering it into sensor.rv.de.
Yes. Yes, this is just for the
Yeah.
sake of practicing and testing something without really affecting the real system, and also
Okay.
training purposes. So you could start using the system yourself and now ask questions. But I tried to do this and it didn't work. Why?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thanks. Sorry, I was a bit late.
More Yannick has to check anyway. I think
Mhm.
the rights are not.
Okay. The username is not demo. Demo dot at RV. This is the username.
So you can now log in yourself also and follow this, or follow on the screen as you wish.
Okay, now you can. You are logged in.
I don't have the password. Demo@rv.de is the user and the password.
The demo 1234 here.
Demo.123.
I said it again in the chat.
Demo 1234.
1234. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Was there a dot in between or something?
The password?
Yeah, the password.
It's in one word with
Demo 1234.
Mm-hmm.
You can also copy it from the chat window of the GoToMeeting software.
Well, okay, I'm not able to log in. Demo@rv.de.
.de. Demo@rv.de.
Yes. Okay. Everybody else could log in?
Yeah,
No,
I can.
same here. I cannot log in.
Well, so it's demo@rv.de.
Are you
I mean, it's
to sandbox.sensor.de, or are you logging into sensor.rv.de?
oh, okay. I'm probably not into the sandbox. Where's the link to the sandbox?
In the chat window, in your browser for the GoToMeeting, or I don't know what you are using to be in this
We have the GoToMeeting. Chat.
chat. Exactly.
Okay, let me scroll down. Okay, sorry. Good that I asked. Okay, now I'm in the sandbox and hold on.
Yes, working here now.
Okay, good.
Demo 1234. Okay, I'm logged in. Great, success.
So now you can create a new device of the type video.
What? You are asking us to create a new device of the type video?
Yes, create a device of the type video.
Create item. Short name. Okay. Okay, just create it.
Okay, look up.
Okay, save.
Okay.
So maybe for clarification, last time it was someone was asking, but this is done by the sensor support team. That's true. In most cases, the initial creation will be done by the sensor support team, but in some cases, you might have a platform of your own that you can administer. So you would also be doing this. So Amy, for instance, for the parent snow pit, you would be creating the device depending on the case.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I still have to add an ice corer. So I probably will do this with an ice corer tomorrow in the sensor web.
Yeah.
And I think it's enough that I should be able to do it. Create device, type ice corer, and find a good short name, and then everything else can be changed later.
Yeah, but you will probably add it on the ice station, I guess, or will you be? Yeah, I guess, huh? Then
Yeah, ice station.
Yeah, then you would still have to contact me at the moment with the workflow. We're doing this in the beginning just to channel all this and have an overview of the misunderstandings, let's say, and where we have to improve the GUI and get back. Just write me an email and I'll create it for you, and then you can go.
Yeah. Well, we have to be in contact anyhow. So okay, I contact you tomorrow.
Yeah, good. Looking forward.
Okay, and now we can add a new contact to the device. Now we click on the I button of your device.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, and then can we add Antonia to this device?
That's great. I always want the power.
I'm just in the middle of doing that, and I find Anto emails at avi.de Finland.
Yeah, my test user. You can use.
Why in Finland?
Because that's where we created the demo user the first time, so I could do some hands-on training with the Finland workshop participants.
Oh, okay. So I'm just curious. Okay. And you will be a data provider? No, you will be an editor.
Yes, right. Now you have the right to edit this device. Okay.
So Amy and myself, we are the only ones who now are creating a video item, a video device.
Sandra has now created a new device. But
Pardon me?
device have a problem.
Amy, when you have you finished entering your device?
Yes, I've got I've just added a contact.
Ah, okay. Maybe. Maybe it's because she's entering the information.
So Amy has edited. Amy, you have edited you as a data provider to my item. Is it correct? I created Doro's video, and I have you now here as a data provider.
Oh.
If the problem with Amy's device, when we click on this I button, we open Dora's video. I think it's creating on the same time, and that's the problem.
Okay. So it's not possible to create something in parallel. I mean,
yes, with one account.
Well, yeah, that's a problem, I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
But most.
So
create a second test user.
And now I think it's okay. Amy, can you create a new device?
Yeah, sure.
Then for next time,
we
need more accounts.
Yeah.
well, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, we have to do some practicing as well.
Well, we're happy to help.
That's good.
So for the actual entries, we will use our own login credentials, right?
Yes, and you will also sensor.avi.de, not sandbox.sensor.avi.de. So Sandbox is really a testing platform.
We can go ahead and, like, if we have the instrument details, we can go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah. So the workflow is such that you collect the instrument short names and who will be the editor of the device in Sensor Web, and you as a chief editor would collect that for the ARM instruments, send an email to sensor@avi.de or O2A support@avi.de. So Yannick and myself and Ajan will handle these requests. And we will request initially for you and then give you the IDs and the URNs, and then you can continue editing or send these information to your device editors who have to add all the detailed information, such as parameters, maybe additional data providers, some fact sheets, and so on.
So I have all those in a database, and I can export into a spreadsheet or something.
Okay.
Is that doable? Like, if I send it to you, will you be able to, like, upload everything in there?
We can do an initial upload, and then let's see at the structure of your data, if we can enter all the data from that, or if we would need your help for entering it.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, Amy, your device is not ready to use. I create your device, and maybe it's your client, or so. You have a problem on the product tough system. Send us an email.
Okay. Yeah. So can you see the device too?
What is this?
I see it now. I just went on another tab and it did a refresh. So I'm seeing Amy's video 2 and Amy's video 3 and test Sandra.
I'm sure it's just because there's more than one person logged in. Do you think?
Sorry.
Because I can't. When I click on the info little eye in my Amy's test video device 2, I don't get any information.
Empty.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's how we see it as well.
Yeah.
Well, to come back to the point, I mean, we are practicing here. So what you're saying, I thought, okay, now we're learning how to really add devices. But of course, I can see that we can still make a lot of mistakes when we create a device. For example, I create the ice corer, but I forget that I'm not on Polarstern, but then I'm going to use it on the ice. So in that case, it's very easy to create, but also easy to make a mistake and create it on Polarstern, on vessel Polarstern instead of ice platform ice station.
Yeah.
So we are still not doing that, but we will send an email to you doing that for us. Correct?
Yeah, that's why we're starting with it, just to not have too much to monitor in the beginning. So, and then we also know, because it's also sometimes it's not straightforward where to add a device. So in the device management list, we have the selection of a laboratory. So you can either use Polarstern or you can say, no, my device is on a laboratory. And then but now we have this best practice that if it's a laboratory on Polarstern, it won't be, in general, it won't just be a temporary laboratory, not a permanent one. So then the platform would be, even though the container is a laboratory, would still be Polarstern. So, and this is all which we're just to cover in the beginning. Our understanding grows, and we can also develop a common concept for MOSAiC as well. So that's also.
Yes, no, I agree. It's probably useful to avoid mistakes and problems.
Yeah, and it's difficult because we have lots of devices, and if we're trying to track 300 devices, it's.
Yeah, I have problems to track 25 devices.
Yeah. That's why we're separating the burden. You cannot help Amy, I guess, at the moment. Maybe so.
And Amy, I have created you the test device. You should use this device. We want to add the collection. That's over the overview, and you must click on the edit, and you see the collections, and you can add, and then you add your MOSAiC group for this device.
Use PGC. Oh, aircraft. Okay.
And the state of the devices. If your device under construction, only the editors see this device. Click on the public, you publish your device, and all people can see this without a login.
Okay.
Okay. And save button, you must click on to save it. And the D-ship connector, we need add a new contact, and we must look up for the Polarstern contact and click on the plus and use the D-ship connector.
This is so that the device is available in the D-ship system. We will find out quite soon on board if you forgot to add this one.
Where's the? I'm just trying to follow you on the real thing also,
Mm-hmm.
and I lost you. Where did you add this contacts and the again? Well, contact.
You add
Here.
contacts, and
Yeah.
you click on the add.
Add. Okay. Very easy. Yeah. Okay, and dship is already added, so okay, I add the webmaster. Save. Okay, but maybe there's a problem because I'm the same item you just edited. I don't know, maybe not.
Okay, I don't add it. You have there's a owner contact of the RV. You have this contact to use a data provider. The better one is you use the owner of the RV institute contact.
So this is also a best practice. Every device that has been entered needs an affiliation. And we've created, or Ajana has created a list of the 60 institutes we know for MOSAiC, already available for you to choose, but you have to add it in the role owner to every device.
Okay, I changed to role. I added RV role owner.
Right.
And the dship connector, Polarstern dship, has to be in the role dship connector. So you really have to pay attention to the role of the device.
Okay.
Just wanting to make sure that Amy knows that you created a test device for her.
Amy?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
But it test device 3, but it still goes to Doris video.
There's the last one test, only test.
Oh, this one.
Maybe
yes.
The others which are not working.
So Amy, sorry Amy, so probably I was a little too fast with Dora's video.
No, but all of the ones I've created.
They have a link to
And now they're linking to test. I don't know what's happening with mine.
The test looks very empty for us, so there's still lots to edit. So that one shouldn't be linking to Dora's video.
So I'm just clicking through all the possibilities here. So we worked on contact now. I mean, the next would be actions. This would be already using this video. But wouldn't I have to put in other stuff first, like parameters? What do I, well, the video?
Yes.
What is local frame?
The local frame is the position of the device. Have you the Polarstern, you have a center of the Polarstern, and in meters you have the device on the left side from the center.
So I would need to know the X, Y, Z of my lab or wherever I attach the camera to, or the video to. The video would be a video camera, right? So I would, well, X, Y, Z. Okay.
This is very important for positioning sensors. So they really, there you really want to know where they are positioned on the ship. For other areas, this simply might not be so relevant.
GPS is important. Okay. And can you add a new parameter?
Okay.
So I just added a calibration event and I've got an error. Null pointer exception. Null.
Okay, it's created or not created?
Yes, I'll get a screenshot of this. Oh, it says this may take a few minutes.
Maybe it's Amy's device. Poor Amy.
I think I'm breaking it.
Yeah, we had that last time as well. We think it's about the sandbox, I think.
Yeah, that's the screen I just got.
I think it's a problem of the sandbox system.
Shall we maybe just continue together on the screen with Doro's video, which seemed to work? I mean, I don't know. Just a suggestion. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. So I added absorption now as a parameter. I could add something else. I have to make something up.
Yeah, maybe Yannick can show it once as well so that everyone has, because now we just see your results too.
I created temperature.
Most of you have already know that if there's a parameter type not available, that you just write an email to us, and then we will create this parameter for you.
So for a given instrument, we collect quite a few parameters. Many of them are scientific parameters, and some of them are more like, I guess, like basic parameters. Like, do we have to register everything, list everything, even if it is unitless, or you only care about the scientific parameters?
We really care about the parameter you publish in your data publication.
Okay.
Some others. That's, yeah. So because some people were also asking, the real value I would then publish would be some derived value. The raw parameter doesn't really make any sense. Then you'd probably also not register the raw parameter, but the parameter that you would be actually using or would be providing to someone else.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, and you can add properties to each parameter. You click on the eye on the right side, and then can add a new property.
Property?
Can mean the range of this device, regional range, or range of the manufacturer.
Measurement property.
Min-max values for alarm in D-chip. in dashboard.
This is something like a quality check.
Yes, like a quality check, but there's not implemented it by now.
Yes, and the units, if you are missing units, let us know. And we will move on to the next tab.
You are ready for the next tab?
Yes.
Okay. This is the resources. We have a resource list. When you used one file for more devices, can you search for this and use this again? ADCP fact sheet. And we have a role of the resource and can use the fact sheet.
Okay, I cannot find anything with video which kind of makes sense, so
okay.
I don't know. I use the test Heineke user manual.
Yeah, this is just for practicing.
Yes.
And
yeah,
I might add to that one, if you are uploading resources which you should actually be publishing with your data, so such as an SLP or some calibration or data format file, the best practice is that you would, for AVI people, to publish this in the AVI repository, so epic.avi.de, or for non-AVI people in your institute's repository, or if not available, zenodo.org, because with this you will get a DOI for your manual publication, SOP publication, and this would then, you would link it in Sensor. So uploading is rather for the things that you wouldn't want to publish with your data with, and the rest you would actually first have a DOI created for it and then insert the link in Sensor Web.
I didn't really get that. So if I would add as a resource the manual here, for example, then this manual would be published.
In
correct?
Yes, yes.
So when people later look at my data, they can kind of check via Pangea, via SensorWeb, how this data was created, and they could click on this resource and see it.
Yeah, but if you just upload it in Sensor, you will not have a DOI created with it. It will be published and it will be related to your Sensor device, but it's not. It doesn't have the DOI which you get for your data publication, for instance, if you publish your data in Pangea. So it's not digital object identifier. It wouldn't have that. So and it's would be best practice to, if this is related to the output of your instrument or your measurement data and affects your data and your data publication, that you have a DOI to the SLP or the data file, for instance.
Oh yeah, so I understand. So if it's just, for example, the manual of the manufacturer, it would be cool to have it in here, so people could see it, but I don't it's not my publication, so it's just available to people. So no DOI. But if it's my own calibration, for example, it's I should publish that separately with a DOI and link it here, for example.
Yes, right.
Okay, good. Thanks.
And the resource can you add to the event, only to the event, or to the resources to the device? And the next properties, if the properties for the whole device, not for only one parameter. It's measurement depth. It's, for example.
Okay, I can't really, so I went back to the properties. I had put in sensitivity, measurement accuracy here before, and I thought, okay, it doesn't matter, but of course it doesn't make sense. I mean, I put in several parameters, absorption, air temperature, and of course this property would only, for example, relate to absorption, but not to air temperature. So I don't know, how would I put that in?
Have you more air temps on one device? You must on all these parameters, this measuring properties, or you can put this on properties. Then you can spend your time and enter one time, only one time.
I didn't get that.
So if you want it just for one parameter, then you add it to the parameter. And if this measurement range, for instance, applies to all parameters, so in case absorption, air temperature, and temperature, you wouldn't add it on the parameters tab, but on the properties tab, correct? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Ah. Okay.
It's a general measurement range.
Ah, now I understand. Yeah, because I just went back to, okay, what did I do now? Everything closed. Okay, so when I go on parameters, on the right-hand side, I have this little information thing also, and I could click on the eye with the absorption or on the eye with the temperature and add sensitivity there, for example. Correct?
Yes, right.
Okay, good. Thanks. Understood.
Okay.
And if we go to the properties tab now?
I didn't. Could you repeat that once again? Sorry.
We're just going to the next tab. So we did the resources, and then we would go to properties, the section properties in the top.
But what you just explained, the difference between the parameters and the properties.
Well, maybe I try to repeat, and then Yannick and Antonia can maybe listen again and see if I got it right.
Yeah.
So I have on my device Doris video, I added 3 parameters, which do not make sense at all for a video, but it doesn't make sense, doesn't matter. So I added absorption and I added air temperature. And then under properties, I had entered sensitivity before, but this of course doesn't really make sense because the sensitivity for absorption or for air temperature would, for example, be different. But if I go to the parameter tab and have a look at the parameter list, on the right side for each parameter, I have this little button for the information. And there I can also add parameters which would only apply to
properties, not parameters. So that's a distinction.
Sorry, I could add properties which would only apply to the parameter then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So here, this one, I also have to sometimes learn. So here we are in the parameters tab. And we have on parameter absorption. And if we click on the eye, we can add a parameter. And this applies for that parameter absorption.
Yeah.
If we go to the properties tab,
Yeah.
we can add a parameter. And this one applies for a property, sorry. And this applies for all parameters, correct? Okay, good.
Okay, thanks.
Seeing that there was two people speaking, we just extended our list of the participants to see that who's talking at the moment. Okay, Yannick, please continue.
Okay. And the local frame subdevices. When you have subdevices, you can see this and can click on the device, and you see the information of the subdevice. And images. You can add images to your device, and the ingest is a contact formula for the data of this device. When you have a near real-time data transmission, you can click this here, and you can choose your method. And we or you give our server credentials, and we create an XML file in our system, and then get automatically the data to our server and to the archive system.
Okay.
For lots of people, for getting the data to the archive system on board Polarstern, for most, this will not be used. For some, yes, where an automatic download makes sense. Where you also can use this is when you want to have your data in the dashboard. Yeah.
We see the checkbox here. When you click on the dashboard RVDE, it's the same for the FS Polarstern dashboard.
I'm not sure.
So for the ARM case, when we publish the data plots, I think I would put that URL and select the first one, or by special applications. Is that correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Data from your container, data then they can collect that from that source, and then it would be automatically downloaded in the interval which you specify with Yannick to your folder of the device on the MOSAiC central storage.
So for the plots, we have a web application that will be running from the site system on board.
Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm wondering, but Yannick will give an introduction into the dashboard later as well. So for the people who don't have an automatic plot, the dashboard can be used to have a near real-time view of the sensors measured. And data could also be uploaded in not near real time, so as in delayed mode, so to say.
Okay, and now I suggest we look up for the search. The first thing is the facets on the left side. You can combine all this facets. We can show after the current profiler. We must look for the Steuerung F. Here, current meter. function. Sorted by the favorites devices. Now we see the ADCP from the Polarstern and other ADCPs from MOSAiC. Now we can look up for the actions. When we have one action for an ADCP, we can look up and we see only one ADCP for this station number. And then we see this. Or we can use a search bar. Here we are looking at now only for the long name. The problem, when you search, you can't find all your things, what in the short name you entered, or what in the device URL is.
But very soon this will be available, so you will also be able to search for a contact, for instance, up there. And I think the real system is even a bit more up to date because Roland did a hotfix.
So I understood right, the search function at this point is only for the long name.
Right.
Yeah, and only until the first space. So currently you cannot search for a name with a space in between, so you can only search for fragments of the long name. So
you see this when I click on enter space, we don't see it.
Okay.
Okay.
Latest in August, it should be more convenient. So, sorry.
So at this point, for example, hands-on, I was looking, okay, I'm the chief editor for BGC, so I was looking for all the devices with BGC. So in that case, I was only using search, and then I was going, I think, using my devices. But I was thinking maybe I could just search by BGC, but that's obviously not possible at this point.
You can choose collections for the BGC.
Yeah, this is what I did in the end.
Yeah, that's the idea also behind that. So you can use a collection, then you know which ones are related to BGC, and you can also search for the devices where you are entered as a contact, right?
Yes, by clicking on my devices in the blue header.
No, at the search, you go to the left side. You have collections.
Ah, yes.
Contacts.
Yeah. Right. I also did that. I just forgot.
So they understand the concept.
I can use here MOSAiC BGC. And
yes.
Now we see all the contacts of this. I have only one device. I click on this, and this device is my device. It's a public device. Everybody can see this device. My device tab is only for you.
And you can combine different facets, right? So you can search for all MOSAiC BGC devices that are of type microstructure probe and have editor Yannick or Dorothea or something. So by combining different facets, you can break down your search.
Yeah. And who created those collections?
Us.
For example, you did that? And is it possible to change this collection?
Change a new name of one, or rename a collection, or create a new one.
Well, both. I mean, I was of course using the MOSAiC. I was clicking on the MOSAiC BGC collection, and I was just very astonished what's in there and what's not in there.
You are not chief editor, so you didn't get this email, Dorothea. I sent this to the chief editors. Right? No, you are chief editor for Dorothea, for BGC, so you probably also got it. And initially, when I added all these devices end of last year, I added all devices from PolarStern to the sensor web because we have the DShip system and sensor web system, and they needed to be synchronized. And I imported everything which is available in the DShip system into sensor web, and I wasn't thinking, gave every device all tags, all collections. So the CTD had ice, ocean, remote sensing, and so on. That of course doesn't make sense. That's why I cleaned that up, and I left some of the labels, for instance, for BGC and for Ocean, for Eco. Now we're in the sandbox, which of course doesn't reflect the real state of the sensor.rvde, but this is a training system, so it's not on the same up-to-date state as the real system, right? So this is old, so you won't see the changes I made last week. The real system, so sensor.rvde, you will see that the devices which are listed for MOSAiC BGC have reduced considerably. I've still left this tag for some devices. They are all, most of these devices, or lots of these devices, are standard as by default available on PolarStern or are used on many cruises. So I was thinking, if people are new to this, yeah, you might find one of the devices you would be using on the expedition anyway, and don't start entering a CTD, which is actually permanently on PolarStern, so you wouldn't have to enter it again. So if you find a device which would tag MOSAiC, BGC, or Eco, respectively, and you feel this is not a MOSAiC device, so you won't be using it in MOSAiC, and it's tagged, write us an email and remove it. We will remove it.
Okay, and in that case, if I see something which is not related to MOSAiC, I should write you an email?
Yeah.
Or I can move it myself?
Yeah, you cannot probably, because you can only edit the devices on which you are entered as an editor.
Yes, yeah.
So these are devices which I have created, or Yannick, or someone from Philax some months ago. So you will not have editing rights on this device. So just send us a short, the URN or the ID, and we will do that for you.
Okay. Well, I just went into I just switched from the sandbox to the real sensor. Well, I'm really confused now because this item type, but I'm now into search, and I'm pretty sure I saw this I always forget the terms. These collections, but now I cannot find the collections anymore.
You're on the left, so sensor.rvde, on the left-hand side, when you click on search, you will always have these facets, and then they're normally ordered in the same way. So you have item type, parameter, action type, unless they are not available, I guess.
Item type, I have contact, I have state, and I have affiliation. That's it.
Then you have probably reduced your search in the top already, so that they are not.
Yes.
Yeah. So
sorry.
Below the page and.
Yes, I did. Sorry. Okay.
And then your collection should be full again. So I clicked on it on the left-hand side, and then you see there are 17 MOSAiC BGC devices left. So, and you also have to keep in mind, I'm not, I really, for some devices, I really don't know if they would be used by the Eco team or the BGC team, or actually it's just an Ocean device. So
well, I wouldn't really know how to go about that, because all the BGC parameter which I so far helped to enter, none of them is in the MOSAiC BGC collection.
Okay.
And
because you have to do it yourself. for the devices which you are, for the new devices which you are creating, this is why we are giving you this training, you are responsible for adding that tag. So you are also responsible for adding the appropriate contacts, like the DShip connector and the owner. And also you would be responsible for adding the collection to your device. So that's things we would like you to edit for your own devices.
Okay, so can we maybe now hands-on go back to the sandbox and we have a look where to add this collection? Because I can't remember that we handled that point.
Yeah, we did, but it's a long time ago. We've been talking quite a lot, so Yannick, please.
Okay.
And then, yeah, I think maybe in 5 minutes we should start going to the dashboard. I don't know, otherwise I'll just need to get some power.
Okay.
Maybe we can quickly do this together. I mean, I'm looking at your screen now. Could you just quickly show me? I guess you would have to go to the My Devices now, correct? For example, you go to Dora's video. Okay, where do I put in the collection?
We have the edit button here.
Yes.
Now we see the collections.
MOSAiC aircraft. Okay, and then we would add, for example, or we would remove aircraft and add BTC. Okay.
Right. And then on the save button.
Yeah. Okay. I hope I find that again. I will do it right after this webinar.
Yeah. And then mail us, and I show you again.
Okay, great. First window. Edit. Okay, great. We can go to the next theme now.
Okay. Now I show you. When we look up for the Polarstern, we see 4 devices, and this not bold font have no shells, and the Polarstern is bigger, and you see they have shells, and when you click on there, you go to the shells of the Polarstern. You see all the devices of the Polarstern. And now we see other devices with sub-devices, and they go, can we go there? And we can go to the Polarstern again on click to the here Polarstern, or when you go to this device, can you click up on the arrow and you move up 1 level up. And when you hear Polarstern, you can see you go to the level on the vessel. Okay.
Yannick, I think you have to demonstrate this in the real system if you do the VSI.
I think it's just the same.
We'll see.
We can look up for this on the productive system. Okay, you see here the helicopter more, and here see the same. Here no children's, and here children's. Click on, and you see you go to the level under the Poseidon. Okay, and now I show you the dashboard. For the dashboard, we have don't have a test system, and you can log in with your sensor account.
Okay, this was my first question. So we can already start using the dashboard now, or only on Polarstern?
You can use this now, but have you data in your in the NRT database?
Pardon me, what?
have you data in the database of the dashboard?
So are you downloading data already for it?
Oh, okay.
She doesn't need her own. She can use other devices as well, right? She could.
Yes, you can use all the data which in the NRT database is Polarstern or the data of the underwater observatory.
Oh, okay.
I log in there. Okay, now I have more dashboards, but all my dashboards are not published. Here I copied the Polarstern dashboard to show you how to works this. We have a map widget, and in this widget we have the colored code colored parameters, and we can change the color of every data set, every point of the data. Here, minimum is blue and maximum red. When I save it, it's on a nearer Africa hotter, and on Europe it's colder. And you can add more measures on this map, and you can use Heinke altitude. Oh no, that's the measurement. It's temperature, and here is a latitude and longitude. It's automatically selected. Okay, that was a mistake. So, and minimum 10, 13, save. Now we should see the other points of the Heinke data. We have also the chart. Can slide all this charts and text boxes. So, now we can select a parameter of Polarstern. The temperature. Temperature, and on the right side we see the description on the also sensor web description field, and on the top we see the last delivery of the last data, and here we can add more parameters. What are you needed? Heinke with temperature, and we can active the data focus overview, and we can change the chart type to this line chart, bar chart, stacked bar chart, scatter plot, and box plot. And we can select the resolution of the data. It's good. It's aggregate all the data it's in a database to an hour, and we can use a limit, 30 days, or you can say, oops, or you can use 1 month or 1 year. Here you see the first letter is mean for the limit what you want. So see here a plot of the Polarstern air temperature and the Heinke air temperature from 1 month. And here is the data focus. You can select 1 day or only 1 hour. Let's see more data of this. Okay. Then haben wir noch. Then we have a current date. We can configure there. We have a heat map. That's version.
Yeah.
We have a CDD from Philip Fisher. It's a profiling CDD. We have a pressure, and then
32 days. We just have to keep in mind.
And the last days, last data of this device is 30 days ago, or 33 days. Type 35, and now okay, we have a contour plot and heat map. And when we save, we see here the plot. Forget the data focus. Have a note. No, we don't have the data focus. We can here click on there. So you see the profile plot. Click you in this plot, double click. You reset all the zooming what you have on the focus, and so double click. You see all the data. Image. You can select the URL and interval. It's be refresh the image. Yeah, the map. You can see there, and a text box, and there can you type all your information what you want. It's with a text editor, and you can link your pages. And we have a value monitor. Here we see the value monitor. We see the data of the Polarstern SBE 38, the temperature, and the alarm range and color is 20 and 30 maximum, and the age of this data is 30 days. When I want it's to alarm for old data, we can see it's gray, and then we can hover our mouse, and then we see how old the data is. Okay, then I think you can play for that and try it out.
One question. I mean, this is what I just figured, that we probably just need to play around with that. For what kind of data would we use it? I mean, I was just thinking, I mean, many times when I'm looking at my data, I'm just throwing everything into Ocean Data View and do something, I think, probably very similar to the dashboard. The advantage of using the dashboard instead of, for example, Ocean Data View is that the data is basically uploaded in the system, available to many people at once. And could the data in the change of the processing still change? Now my question, is this the advantage, that basically data is uploaded, but then a correction is made and I'm looking at it in the dashboard and then I'm automatically using the updated data or something like that?
The dashboard is for the near real-time data. It's to
real-time data.
What you say?
The dashboard is for the real-time data.
Right.
It can be used for delayed mode as well, but
it's mostly for the near real-time data. You can use it for long-time data, but it's better. It's programmer for the near real-time data, and it's show you all the new data of the view of 2 weeks. Also, you can.
Okay, got it.
And it has a sorry, Renee. You have the advantage also to display your data to a larger public, right? So at the AVI, you can publish this for all. On Polarstern, your dashboards will be visible for every cruise participant anyway, but then you can show your data to everyone. Nobody has to go to you and say, please, can I see your data? But if this is something which is coming in near real time, or you want to, I don't know, upload the data of your last 3 GTD casts, maybe we are thinking about maybe doing something like zooplankton counts. That's something very experimental. We haven't done it yet, but it would be, we could consider it, testing it at least. So then many people can see it. So, and of course your data is converted already, but for some people, then they have to write the script so that it's converted into the database format. But yeah, and you can monitor for near real time. I guess the monitoring is the best advantage.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I wanted to point out that we have a document. So for one, there will be the MOSAiC handbook coming out soon on general best practices in MOSAiC. It also contains security best practices and so on, but it will also contain a data management section for MOSAiC. I think the date is 1st of August when this should be available. That will be something like Confluence, and this will also be available on board. We will extract lots of information for the MOSAiC handbook from the general data management or O2A documentation space, which you can find on https://spaces.avi.de /display/dm. I'll paste it here. It also gets sent with every account which is requested for sensor. And you see we have the different sections. Sensor, DShip is also explained. Then this is this ingest tab. There's how the data should be described. we didn't go into that much detail for that because it's probably a special section. Then the dashboard, you can see lots of documentation has already been created. There's videos. You can also see how to access these pages programmatically, so via an interface. We will also add some information on the storage and how it all relates. And we have a section called projects. And here we are starting with MOSAiC. These are still dead links, but we will be uploading them soon so that you get a single point of information for all the resources at the AVI for MOSAiC. And the page which we are sending to everyone is the one called MOSA recommendations for MOSAiC. It's loading. And here you will see a list of chief editors, so who to contact, a link to the best practices for sensor, and there's like a rough description. What is a sensor? What is an item? How to give a short name? Which contacts have to be in MOSAiC? How to add a collection? The different item states, the best practices. So it would be really, really good if you could read this part. We also have some examples at the bottom how we think you could enter devices. And you can also redirect your team members to this page as an initial source of information. That's this. And then also maybe because we updated this a little bit on the role as a chief editor. So, oh yeah, I have to go back to the slides, but I have to show you the slides as well. This one? Yeah. So, so your role as a chief editor, so we set the deadline to the 31st of July because I'm on holiday starting from the 5th of August for 3 weeks. Then there's 3 weeks left until the expedition, and then on the devices should already be entered. And during that time, we only Yannick and Ajan working on it, and also only on part-time because of course they have other jobs as well. So it would be good to have it all, at least the major construction sites, let's say, have them in Sensor, and also have the big resources which are uploaded into Sensor, have them there also already, and so that we can cover all the parameters that are missing, not all, but at least most. And if there are some problems or misunderstandings, how to create a sub-device, in which structure to create, so that we can cover that beforehand, and not when everyone is in the preparation phase for the expedition, the hot phase. So that's why we request you to collect the list of devices to be entered in Sensor for your team. Lots of you have already done that. And then distribute the knowledge on Sensor. Again, ULIS handles the list. We will initially create them just to get the first step properly done. And then we would hand this back to you to fill in the rest. So actually, we're just starting with a short name and a device type. Device type can be changed, the device long name itself as well, but the short name is fixed. And then we'll add you as an editor, and then you can edit as you wish. Exactly. And for your team, you would be the first contact for questions, so that general questions that are the same for the whole team or for most of the team can just be are not handled by separate requests to us, because it's not very efficient on both sides, I guess. Yeah, and then as a chief editor, you would also monitor the devices in Sensor that have been entered for your team, and see if they might be missing an owner, or maybe just broadcast that they should add an owner to their device, and see if the D-ship connector is there, and if they've generally done the configuration correctly. And what we are also trying to do is gather the information, so the sensor URN and the sensor ID back in the device management list. So if we have that in the end, we will have a nice overview of all the sensors that have been registered in the system, and it will be much easier for someone to find his own sensors, or someone else. He will go to the list maybe and see, oh yeah, Sandra added 5 devices. They must be named something like this. I'll try to find them. Yeah. And as a data contact person, if I manage to progress, would be to act as a multiplicator for the knowledge on Sensor and how it relates to D-ship and the MCS, the whole data flow on board. Also, for your team, be a first contact We will have 2 data supporters on board on every leg. I myself am on board for leg 1 and leg 4, but we are more or less, we have a general knowledge on the technical side. You have a more scientific knowledge on your team workflow, so that's why we need some interface in between, and you can also maybe broadcast some general information or help find a device, maybe help reassigning or troubleshoot why something has not worked because someone, I don't know, put his device in a completely wrong section because it was a misunderstanding. So it's just supporting us a little and acting as multiplicators in your team, and also keeping an eye on your team if raw data is being uploaded, and you will also know better why raw data or first level process data hasn't been uploaded. So you will just be a more knowledgeable interface in between. Yeah. Any questions?
Well, no specific questions at this point. I mean, yes, thank you for this presentation. I mean, I feel I'm still like working on the first point, like getting the sensors in, and but I feel much more confident now that I can handle that and be a good contact person.
That's cool. That's great. We'll try to offer another hands-on training, maybe end of August, beginning of September, also for data contact persons. There will be a general introduction, again, for all participants in the 2 preparation days before each leg. But of course, we won't go through sensor in detail, but just explain the concept. So even those who didn't get the data management webinars should get at least the first insight on how it all works. And there will be support on board. Important now is that we get a lot of devices entered so that we know, because some questions are really new to us as well. So you really have to think about it. And, the later we are, the less easy it is to get a solution.
So, Antonia, can the 2 of us maybe tomorrow have a look on the other BGC devices which I'm missing?
Yes.
Maybe I'm sending you my list again, but we don't need to do that now because I'm actually going to be on vacation next week.
Okay.
So, so maybe we can handle that this week.
Yeah.
So it's not, I don't know, then you will be gone. Oh, well, I can also do this with Yannick, of course, but yes, okay. Talk to you tomorrow, and thank you. No more questions from my side.
Great. Yeah, thank you all for your patience and feedback. That's very valuable for us as well. And yeah, we'll keep that documentation updated. We'll send you the user and password for testing the sandbox, and I'll also send the team accounts for DShip. And if you have any questions, yeah, you know where to find us, how to contact us. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, bye-bye.